much. Senator Cassidy.
Hey, Mr. Long. How are you? One thing I've been concerned about, which has really benefited my state, and I've seen that has benefited St. Louis when I visited St. Louis, is the Historic Preservation Easement Program. It will take an old building, which costs a lot to fix up, and you get a tax credit to do so, and you preserve a structure which, as I was once told, is both historic, iconic, and then catalytic for the neighborhood to upgrade. I saw an old post office in downtown St. Louis in which that was done. So I'm specifically interested in how the IRS will treat this, and particularly the property owners who protect these historic buildings using a historic preservation easement. On multiple occasions, the IRS Office of Chief Counsel has described their strategy as relates to historic preservation easements as guidance by litigation. Now, ideally, the IRS would accommodate the taxpayer up front so that the historic building owner can be confident that the tax deduction claimed under a congressionally authorized program is honored by the IRS. And by the way, Congress has repeatedly affirmed this program. Ronald Reagan has a great quote about this, it goes that far back. So do you agree that the IRS should reallocate enforcement resources towards front-end guidance and end the guidance by litigation campaign, which has been used against these easements?
Yes, I would most certainly. And earlier I'd mentioned that one of the things that I'm unusual to bring to the table, I'm only and I mentioned that I serve with 9 of you in Congress, including yourself, just on this one committee here. And being someone that has just left Congress 2.5 years ago, I want my people to have access, with your all's permission, to the Finance Committee, to the Ways and Means Committee, so that we know when these are written and how to carry them out. We don't have to guess for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 months before they decide how to do it. So I agree with you, yes.
I appreciate that. And then, and going specifically to the historic tax credits, as I've said, they can be historic, catalytic, iconic, and catalytic. And so under the previous administration, Commissioner Werfel requested additional national or statewide extension for completing grandfathered HTCs. So during the COVID pandemic, a lot of stuff got shut down. And there was a time limit as to when this could be executed. But COVID shut things down. And their response was because an extension had been granted for some projects early in the pandemic, no further relief could be provided. But it didn't address additional disasters which had occurred, which significantly impacted that. So I guess what I'm saying is, just because there was the pandemic requiring relief does not mean that if a hurricane hits, there's not another circumstance in which relief would again be required, reasonably required. Not because I couldn't make my note, but rather because, wait a second, you blew out the place and all the workers have been moved to another place to put roofs on people. So I'm asking if you confirm if you would do anything to revisit this.
Anything what? I'm sorry.
Anything to revisit this kind of, oh wait, you've had a COVID era extension, so therefore you never again qualify no matter what other circumstances there are.
In my office in Rayburn, I had several pictures right in my little area where you walk in there where the receptionists sit, and of all pictures of presidents and whatever. The thing that got the most attention in my office was a little brown sign about this big square that in white letters, and it said, "Bring back common sense." And what you're talking about is common sense. So yes, I agree, and I think that we all need to work together and figure out common sense.
I like that answer. And then I get one more question in real quickly. If you go back to the Reagan era once more, there is headline after headline saying how IRS has missed their deadlines for IT upgrades. And yet under the federal government, there is a off-the-shelf modernization effort that you can, if there's something in the private sector that meets your need, you can employ that. Now, it seems as if most federal agencies want to write their own. They want to do their own coding as opposed to go out to somebody and say, will you come do it for us using your already done. So your approach to how you would upgrade the IT, which is, again, woefully in need of upgrading?
Well, I think that we have to go, there's a lot of big companies that deal with more people than the IRS does, and they seem to be able to pull off things seamlessly with all their IT, and I think that in sales, they say success leaves clues, and failure does too. I think we need to take the clues from private sector, and if we can get things from them, which I've had 1 million people, and I've said, I'm not doing anything with the IRS, I can't talk to you, call me back after confirmation if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, and we can visit that. But I think that we need to look at what private sector's doing and run the government a little bit more that way.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if that
I yield.
answers you. Thank you.
Thank you.